Hey guys, it's been a long time, hasn't it? It's about just before Christmas, like my last video. This has been a really crazy video to have to make for something so small, but we're doing a build video today, and what we're building is another one of the world's smallest end-fed half waves. Stay tuned. That's going to be right here, right now on Ham Radio for Non-Techies. Okay, guys, welcome back to Ham Radio for Non-Techies, where we try to get you to study for and pass your ham radio exams, become a licensed ham radio operator, and I try to turn all the engineering and technical gobbledygook into plain English so you can be a ham operator. So, like I said, today we're going to be building an end-fed half wave. This one comes from a guy, his call sign is Kilo Mike 4 Charlie Foxtrot Tango, KM4CFT. And I got this on eBay. And it's sold through a guy who I recently met and became friends with named Radio Dan. So I'm going to show you here on the desktop. This is the actual kit. Very small kit, very simple kit to build. Like I said, I had a lot of issues. I've been playing with this thing for 3.5 weeks now, and I had a couple issues which will get explained in the video. But let's jump on into it, guys. We're going to go downstairs. We're going to build this thing, take it out, test it, try to make a contact, and we'll come back here and... well, I'll probably just wrap up out in the field. No use coming back here for all that. But I will put links to this eBay listing down below. It's a really cool little kit, and wait till you see what I do with the antenna. We'll see you there. Okay, guys, we're going to go ahead and start building this antenna. I've chosen of the 2 configurations that are available to you with this kit. I've decided to go with the end-fed half-wave version. I prefer that over random wire antennas. I just, personal preference. Build it however you want. Instructions for building it both ways are in the PDF, which you can get at radiodan.com/PDF or on the front page of radiodan.com. If you're going to print this out for building out the end-fed half wave, you will want to print out pages 6 through 11. And the remaining pages you can just use as a reference when you're trying to figure out length of wire and different stuff that pertains to the tuning and performance of the antenna. So first off, what we have here is our printed circuit board, our BNC connector, our F50-43 toroid, 100 picofarad, 1 kilovolt capacitor, a length of 26 gauge poly stealth wire, 28 gauge magnet wire, and a piece of heat shrink. So the first thing we're supposed to do, and I kind of did this prematurely because I didn't have the record button on, is I cut the wire. So you're going to split the wire in half, and you're going to split that into 2 pieces, which will now be attached to this. Now, if you don't have a pair of wire strippers that are small enough to precisely strip 28 gauge or 26 gauge wire, I picked these up over at Lowe's, and they go all the way, if I get that in focus there. Probably not, but they go all the way to 28 gauge. Not very expensive, think maybe 15, 20 bucks. Razor sharp, very nice addition to your ham shack. So go to Lowe's. Home Depot might even carry them, made by Klein Tools. If I can find the exact model number, I'll put it up in the description down below. If you go in and look for these, you should be able to find them. So we want to go ahead and get started here. And like it says, you want to take your 6-inch length of wire, cut it in half, and strip a small amount of insulation off these, and then we're going to solder these into the holes labeled CT and ANT. So I'm going to move all this other stuff out of the way for the moment. Don't get confused with all of that and clutter up our spot. So on here, it's CP, which will be this spot here for the first wire, and ANT for antenna for this wire. So we'll go ahead and get those soldered up and go from there. All right, so first we're going to grab our wire here, make sure it's the correct cut off there. So just a little tiny piece on the end, just enough to solder it into that little tiny hole over there. So we're going to get the second one done. Okay, so we now have our 2 spots. I'm going to incorporate my little vise here. That'll make this a lot easier. in theory. Okay, so for step 2, he wants us now to route both of these wires through these little holes here and here. I'm gonna go ahead and get that done. That'll act as a support so these wires don't yank out by putting stress onto the solder joints. So we're now good to go there. Okay, so next we're going to move this out of the way for now, because next we're going to be winding the toroid. So we'll need the toroid here and the length of magnet wire. So we got to be real careful with this, but I'm going to go ahead and get this unraveled. And you definitely get enough of this wire to more than wind this toroid. So should be good to go. Just be careful not to get any kinks in it. What I like to do with wire like this when it comes in these kits, I like to just kind of run it through my fingers tightly and straighten it out, just to ensure that there are no kinks, and try to keep it as straight as possible. Okay, so what he says here, measure about 3 inches of wire and form a bend. So we're going to get our, I'm going to do it off screen here, measure 3 inches of wire and form a bend. So there we are, like that. Bent up. I normally like to twist these, and I think I'm going to go ahead and do that anyway, just because. So I'm going to add a little bit, just a little bit of a twist to keep this all together. Don't need to go nuts with it. Just want a little bit of a twist there. So as we've discussed in the past, when you're winding a toroid, every pass through the center is considered a turn. So even though I just put that through there once, that's considered a turn. So we're going to wrap this around 3 times around the toroid and see how that all plays out for us here. That's 1 turn. And again, remember to keep your wire as close to the wall of your toroid as possible, nice and tight. Take your time with it, there's no race. So that's 2. I'm going to pull through for a 3rd time. And that is 3. See that real there? That's 3 turns. So with that being done, we have our remainder of our wire here. And now we have to continue winding. Okay, so the instructions indicate you have different ratios you can do this at. I'm just going to follow what he says in the instructions here, using the 3:21 ratio. So we've already wound the first 3 turns of the secondary back in step 2. And now we're going to wind an additional 18 turns to complete the transformer. So off screen, I'm going to go ahead and get this done, and I'll come back when that's completed. Okay, so we have our 18 additional turns. We had the first 3 here that were the doubled up wire, and then 18 more around here. Don't be overly concerned. Like I said before about trying to keep this as tight as possible, and sometimes when these things get so small like this, it gets really difficult to keep them super tight to the walls of the toroid. So don't overthink that and freak out about it. If you have a little bit of slop in there like I do on this one, that's probably going to be okay. What I am going to do is go in here and try to even out the spacing on these just a little bit, make them just kind of sit a little bit better. They're a little bit more evenly spaced. Again, probably not a big deal, but if we can try to make this as perfect the first time, less chance of something screwing us over later on in our build. Okay, so the way this is working out here, this is your ground. The second shorter wire here is your output, and this is our input wire. So now we're going to attach these to our printed board here, right here where the toroid is. So we're going to get that done next. Okay, so putting it all together here, we're going to flip that around for a second so I can see the other side. Okay, so on the PCB board, your ground is here, your input and output are here. We're going to switch this back around now. I want to mount the toroid properly. Our longer wire, that was from the 18 wraps, that goes into the input. Our center wire here is that little twisted one. Try to feed that through. There we go. And finally, our output wire. Going right there. Get a little bit of solder on our iron. I really like how that's soldered. There we go. And there we go. Done deal. Clean off the tip. So there you have it, folks. That has been soldered on there just fine. This is really a much simpler build than I anticipated it to be at first. I thought it was going to be much more of a pain in the butt, but apparently it's really not. All right, so with all that done there, I guess I prematurely flipped this over. Let's go ahead and snip off the excess, since we don't need that anymore. The next part is to flip over the board, like we have before. Except this time we're going to be putting the capacitor in, and the capacitor will be going into these two holes here and here. This capacitor is not direction specific, meaning it doesn't matter what direction you put it in, it's going to fit. But we just want to make sure we get a good solid connection into those holes. Our soldering iron once more, and make the connection. Go. Better. There we go. Done deal. All right. The final portion of this build is going to be putting on that B and C connector, I believe. All right. B and C connector. Pretty straight and to the point. You got 3 connections. You got a connection here, here, and here, which will coincide with this connection here, here, and here. Oh, my mistake. The connections are here, here, and here, not here. That's the connection for the coax. So here, here, and here will go into here, here, and here. So pop that down in there like so. Okay, so to get this thing to stay put for me, as a woodworker, the rule of thumb is you never have too many clamps. So I'm going to just clamp that to here, nice and flat. That way it's all nice and flat, but you see my 3 prongs are protruding through the other side. So with that being done, I can now put this back in the vise. We'll just solder on these first 2 connections, and we'll take the clamp off. That should allow us enough stability to solder the 3rd one. That's pretty much it, guys. That's our little end-fed half-wave antenna. The next thing to do is going to be to hook up a length of wire. I'm going to start with 67 feet of wire to this one here, which goes to the antenna side. The CP here for counterpoise, I don't really use counterpoises on any end-fed half-wave antennas. I never have and never will. So I probably won't really deal with this much. I'll keep it on here for the heck of it, just in case I want to have that option down the road. But honestly, the coax acts as a good counterpoise, especially something this small, going at only 10 watts. It's not really going to be that big of a deal. So with that, guys, we're going to go ahead and get outside and get this thing soldered up to some wire, and we'll go from there. We'll see you shortly. All right, guys, so since you saw me last, I had a couple little snafus, and this is nothing on the manufacturer of this antenna, but I was attempting to get it tuned, and I was having all kinds of issues, and this is in my backyard, but I could not get the SWR below 15. So what I did is I called back to Radio Dan, who I bought the antenna from, and I told him what the situation was. We went back and I checked everything over, checked the toroid, checked all the soldering connections, everything I possibly could, and we just couldn't figure out what the problem was. So he went out and sent me another kit, but in the meantime with that kit, which was about 2.5 weeks ago, life took over and I had a couple little issues. So I built the new antenna, so it's right here, and I got the wire. This time I did a little bit different with the windings. I did a 3 to 18. So it's gonna be tuned for 20 meters only. And I'm gonna go ahead and run 37 feet of wire out, and we're gonna see if we can get this thing tuned up. So let me get this all set up and tuned, and we'll come back and give it a test, hopefully if everything goes well. So stay tuned, guys. All right, guys, well, I had a little bit more luck this time. I'm thoroughly convinced now that my land at my house is cursed when it comes to tuning antennas. And I got a theory here. I want you guys to put this down in the comments. If you have a lot of spurious emissions in RFI, like, you know, I have that that guy in my neighborhood with the big solar farm on top of his roof, does that affect how your antenna tuner reads and delivers the readings for SWR? I don't know. I can't get a straight answer from anybody on that. So if you know that, put it down in the comments and explain it to me in words that cats and dogs can understand. So I got this antenna down. I can get it down further, I think, but I got it down. The SWR is down to 1.36, 1.37. I'll put a screenshot up here. So I think we're ready to test this out on the radio and see what we can get going. So let's go to the radio and make some contacts. Okay, one more quick update before I hook this thing up to the radio. One, I drove all the way out here to the park with my 705, which is what I want to test it with, and I forgot to bring a SO239 to BNC adapter, so I have to go all the way back home and pick up one stupid adapter to plug this thing in and try it. And I decided that 1.35, whatever the heck it was I said a minute ago for the SWR reading, was not good enough for me, so I kept toying with it, and I'm now down to 1.1 to 1. So my SWR is at 1.1. I'm pretty happy with that, and I think we'll get some really killer performance out of this thing. So when I get back from my little quick trip to go pick up that stupid adapter, we'll be back.
73, CQ Parks on the air, November 4, Sierra Alpha X-ray.
QRP, Kilo India 5, November Papa Lima.
November Papa Lima, full call.
Kilo India 5, November Papa Lima.
Kilo India 5, November Papa Lima, 59, K1873 in Florida.
Copy the 59 in Florida. You're coming in about a 55, 55 in Texas.
Thanks for Texas. Thanks for chasing today. Have a great day. CQ Parks on the air, November 4.
There we go, guys. We got it. Let me turn this down. All right, so I set out to accomplish getting this antenna out today, getting it tuned, and at least making a couple contacts. Part of the problem I had was there's a bunch of golf guys over here having lunch in the same little pavilion that I usually set up in, and I didn't want to really irritate them and bug them since they were watching my gear while I ran back home to go grab that stupid adapter. But I managed to make a couple contacts. I used the POTA app to go hunt a couple POTA parks. And unfortunately, I didn't get the chance to hit record on them because you wouldn't be able to hear them and the guys behind me. There's like 12 of them all laughing and having a great old time. So I waited till they left and tried making more contacts. But by the time I did that, a lot of the people were gone. So I managed to get this one guy, and it took a while, man. I'm running QRP. I'm running 10 watts, 5 watts, 10 watts, whatever. And it just took a little bit to get him on there, but he finally got me, as you saw. So this antenna, I'm pretty happy with it, guys. Like I said, the first iteration, I don't know if I did something wrong or if there was a fault in one of the parts that I got in the kit. Not a big deal. It's not a slight against the antenna. The antenna is pretty awesome. I mean, I got the SWR down to 1.1 to 1. That's pretty fantastic. You know, the thing's the size of a, I don't know, size of a pen cap. Not very big. But yeah, if you guys want to check out that antenna, go over to radiodan.com and check it out on his site. I think there's a link on there. There should be a link on there to order this thing. I think it comes off eBay. But they got it to me pretty quick. The shipping was good. Fairly easy to assemble. You don't have any surface mount capacitors to put on. You just have the regular capacitor, which you saw in the video. So, you know, without shooting the video for you guys, when I rebuilt the second one, I did it in about 15, maybe 20 minutes. It did not take long to build that antenna. And I'm not anything special as far as a soldering master or anything like that. But I was able to get that antenna built in about 15, 20 minutes. That's with winding the toroid. So hopefully, guys, you guys like this video. Again, I'm sorry for being gone for so long. I've been trying to get a lot of stuff done, but with my school and everything, it's been a little bit of a pain in the butt. Do me a favor, though. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. That helps YouTube give you guys more videos like this. And I'm going to try to be more consistent in getting more videos out to you guys. Now that I finally got this one done, I got a couple more antenna videos I want to do for you guys, but I just had to wait until the proper time. So proper times are coming here. Again, if you guys are not subscribers, subscriptions are free, absolutely free. Go down, hit subscribe, click on the bell to be notified when I do new videos. And until then, guys, this is Ham Radio for Non-Techies. My call sign is KI5NPL. I'll see you on the air, and we are clear.